Cheers, guys. Epix 911, welcome to the Monday, March 6th edition of VR News. I want to thank you guys for your feedback yesterday. It was awesome. Confirmed essentially my gut instinct, which was you guys definitely want me to keep it. Okay, I jest. You definitely don't want me to keep it. And yes, there were a couple. There was a sprinkling of people who liked the intro, but kind of goes back to my initial logic, which was, look, if you aren't, you're more likely to not watch with a bad intro or an intro in general if you don't like intros than the other way around. Feeling videos should have an intro, there not being one. And for now, I'm going to leave it. I may revisit it, but it will take into account the feedback received last night, which overwhelmingly was shorter and make it have more to do with the channel. And a lot of people felt that just my casual little bit at the beginning is already an intro. So fair enough. Anyways, point, heard you guys loud and clear. As always, guys, so appreciate that. All right, let's get on to some VR news goodness. Starting with Archangel, which is a VR shooter. Now, this one is a mech-based VR shooter from devs Skydance Media. But before you get too excited, it is an on-the-rails shooter. So if you're not familiar with that, that essentially means that it's extremely linear progression. Think the old Sega arcade shooter games of the mid-90s, where you're basically going down a predetermined path. That's what this is. Hopefully, this leads to that dream mech-based game that I'm still waiting for, mercenary style, which would play like an Elite Dangerous, where you can upgrade your mech, do missions. Somebody's going to make that game for me. I swear it's going to happen, and it will be awesome. But this one is called Archangel, and like I said, it's an on-rails shooter that apparently has a decent story attached to it. So as I get some more input on that game or do some more research on it, I will update you guys. And next game I want to quickly talk about is Bounce. This was released in November to not a lot of fanfare. I casually mentioned it, but this game has 50 levels, and if you enjoy puzzlers, like I really liked the Portal VR. Yes, I thought it was a bit short because 20-25 minutes, but the puzzles themselves were a lot of fun. It was a small, short game, but ultimately pretty damn rewarding for me. So I think puzzles work well in VR. And the idea with Bounce, it's not the one where you're trying to get your balls across the room. This is a single ball that you put through the puzzles and try to get to the end. So there's all kinds of obstacles and tools. You've got ramps, trampolines, chutes, conveyor belt, and as they put it, other constructions to get your ball there. The ball itself even has a name and, according to the article, a semblance of a personality. So the name is D1GB, or Digby is its alias/pet name. So yeah, if you're into puzzle games, that is one that is available on both Rift and Vive, 50 plus levels. Not bad at all. All right, let's start with Robo recalls Vive support called RoboRevive mod. So apparently this is out there, and while it's nothing official, it is a Revive type workaround, and it's not functioning perfectly smooth with the Vive controllers, but it is a means to play Robo Recall, which is that Oculus free release, which I thought was a hell of a lot of fun, and presentation-wise, very polished, very good graphics. You know, a little cliche with the storyline. We've been there, done that, but if you have an opportunity to play it, definitely don't pass that one by. You can get that latest mod from GitHub. You're going to see the link below. So if you're a Vive owner who wanted to check that out, there's an ability to check that out. They've also updated the game itself to accommodate 360-degree better. A lot of focus had been on mostly making it a 180 game. They've now updated that to reflect those people with Oculus room scale type setups. So that's good news. All right, Valve, SMI, and Tobii previewing VR's eye tracking future in HTC Vive. And my guess would be Rift as well at some point. So they really got into, in this link, and you can see that if you go there, the types of benefits that you're going to get. Not just technologies that are going to benefit from eye tracking, like foveated rendering, a perfect example. So right now, with having no eye tracking, everything is done by moving your head. Moving your head within the VR environment determines what you're looking at. We know in real life, though, you can have your eyes dart to the side or up or down. With eye tracking, you can have your head perfectly still in the VR environment, but look down, look up. Currently, you would see, if it was using foveated rendering, like let's pick a game like Robinson the Journey. You're looking straight ahead. Yeah, you can look down, but the foveated rendering is still the middle of the screen. And when you look down, you're basically going to see lower quality, blurrier textures because of the omitted pixels. So eye tracking resolves that. So definitely something I'm excited about in the future. But also, we're missing so much of our bodies right now. And in order for eye tracking to really fulfill its full promise, we're going to need fingers and feet and legs, basically a body. And we're close. And every piece of technology, software-wise, hardware-wise, is bringing us closer. And, you know, I know we say that a lot as a community. The future is going to be awesome. It is. But with that said, I'm in no hurry to rush things along. I'm enjoying where we're at right now at this point in time, especially with some great games on the horizon and having been released over the last few months. We just need more. And all the other stuff in due time, especially the eye tracking. Just so much coolness there in the future. Next story, OSVR, the open source virtual reality HMD with accompanying software, is offering a 20% discount for their HDK2 unit to students and developers. So there's a form that you got to fill out. Now, student benefits can be great. For example, I'm using the fact that I'm a student, I have part-time studies, to basically get the Adobe subscription. And I think it's 15 to 20 bucks a month. And I essentially get the entire suite at my disposal. Your Photoshop, After Effects, Premiere, etc. So similar to that, you get a 20% discount on this. Now keep in mind, there is compatibility on Steam VR, but that doesn't mean that every single game is going to work. Far from it. Lots of games exhibit issues when used with OSVR. You got to take trackers into account, so it should be gamepad friendly. So at the end of the day, yes, while some games work, just because it's open doesn't mean it's open in the sense that everything's going to work for you. Now, many know that. This is for those of you who do not and look at that simply as, a purchase price, and the assumption being, oh, it's Steam VR compatible, everything's going to work. Sadly, that's what I'm getting at. That isn't the case. Still, not a bad discount, though. And we're starting to see that, and that was our guess last year. As we round out through the holiday season, we're going to see organic price drops. They've started, and they won't be stopping. Next up, an update on zero latency company and virtual reality technology guys who are basically concerned with the larger VR arcade theme park style experiences. So originally they had used Oculus Rifts. They kind of formed the guts of their HMDs. They are moving to the Razer units now, the OSVR HDK2 from Razer, and including the Razer surround sound headset as well. So yeah, not bad. That's a good switch there. They've also made tweaks to the backpack, which was an Alienware gaming PC. They've improved the battery life, the performance of that PC. Blackbird, that's their in-house developed gun that uses the PlayStation Move controller. That's still there, but has been redesigned. It's lighter, better tracking, and other behind-the-scenes tweaks that they say all contribute to better stability, better tracking, and ultimately a more immersive experience. They've also changed the focus of their space requirements. Like I said, a lot of the initial places that they targeted were 400 square feet. The games that they offer weren't taking advantage of that. At most, they were taking advantage of about half the space. So that's what they're targeting now, 200 square foot facilities. That's still a hell of a lot more than we get at home with our room scale. So definitely cool to see them out there using that technology, and hopefully it's healthy and we don't just see it in Asia. Hopefully it's successful all over the world so we can see that technology kind of rise in parallel, right? As we're seeing improvements on the consumer side, we get to see it kind of on that commercial, arcadey side of things. Next news story, PlayStation VR. I talked about this update, the 4.50 update. Well, that is literally just around the corner, and it's going to bring that 3D Blu-ray we talked about. For anyone who's interested in that, that's not something that really matters much to me personally, but the improved tracking that it's going to offer definitely does. So this is all in time for the launch of Farpoint, which of course is the PlayStation VR aim controller compatible title. Can't wait for that. And just tracking improvements in general to the Move controllers and, of course, that aim controller. So fantastic news there. Next story, the game Velocibeasts. So this is a game that is available on Steam. Well, will be eventually available on Steam towards the end of 2017 for probably both platforms, Vive and Rift. Its claim to fame is its teleportation system. We're seeing a bit of an innovative twist to a system that, let's face it, has gotten pretty damn stale and seems to be cloned from one game to the other. And the one that we're seeing the most is that Starseed gallery style teleportation. My hope was that, with the teleportation and budget cuts, we'd see more innovation in teleportation, and it hasn't really happened. It's happening probably with games in development, and it's definitely happening with Velocibeasts. What they're doing for their system is it's all weapon-based, the teleportation. So where you throw your weapon, and you've got weapons that you can throw 100 feet high, 50 feet out, wherever it lands is where you teleport to. So they've worked the mechanic in to basically fit your throwing arm. Now, that's been one of the glaring limitations of the current teleportation system, is you're basically teleporting within a radius around you as opposed to 100 feet away. Now, some games let you go 20, 30, but certainly not 100, and certainly not at different elevations, which is, again, with the throwing mechanic, you could throw something up into a hallway, if you're in a courtyard, 3 stories up, and essentially teleport to the middle of that hallway. So, very cool, very innovative. Can't wait to see that in action. Now, next story concerns Nvidia and their GTC VR content. So this is the GTC 2017 convention in San Jose, California. It's going to take place May 8th through 11th. And they plan on offering basically a contest prize, $30,000 in cash and prizes to the winners of their VR content showcase. Now, the kicker for this being it can't be gaming related. So it's got to focus on content other than gaming for their submission. Submissions end March 15th. The other qualifier is you need to use Nvidia's GPU technology. So game works, design works, VR works in your project. You cover those bases and it's not gaming, well, you may be able to get a submission in. and win some cash. So if you are a dev and that's of interest, I would highly recommend you apply and keep us in the loop. So applications for that, I mentioned it, I'll just reiterate it, March 15th for May 8th through 11th when the convention takes place in San Jose. All right, last story, Photogrammetry Showcase Realities. This was a launch title which allowed you to travel to some pretty cool places, but there was only a handful. You had an abandoned Soviet-era style Russian classroom. There was a mountaintop with granite boulders that you could go to. Well, not only have they added 6 spots, so stuff like California's Death Valley, they've added new atmospheric audio. They've also improved Rift and touch support and just a bunch of visual improvements. So less warping when you turn around, higher fidelity, better anti-aliasing, just a lot of changes. And the beauty of it, still free. So go check that out. And yeah, let me know what you think. It's not a game, it's really just an experience to visit locations, but what it's perfect for is introducing people to VR. So if you got somebody over, family, friend, that for some reason is in your life but hasn't tried VR yet, this is the type of application you throw at them. Not Resident Evil 7, although that would be fun and entertaining. All right, guys, that is it for Monday's news. Cheers.